Sally here. It's Tag Tuesday. Tag Tuesday is an open collaboration hosted by Sheree over at Turquoise Dreaming. And I will put the link to her channel below so that you can check out her wonderful work. And she will also have a list of everyone that has joined the collaboration so you can go over and see all their awesome work. Lots of talented people on there to watch, so you want to go over and see everybody's, not only their Tag Tuesday, but all of their other videos. I've turned off my overhead light because this is glossy and it makes it shine. So it's a little bit dark, so I'm hoping you can still see it okay. I'll try to turn it on in just a little bit, but it makes a pretty good glare. So my tag's going to be a little bit different today because I'm going to use the last two cards I have. These are Tim Holtz cards, and I had two left in my little box. I have a bunch of the little characters, but only had two of these. So what I think I'm going to do is punch a hole, make a tag. But what I was thinking of when I saw these little ones here is that, you know, they always say, if you could tell your younger self something, what would that be? But I was thinking, what if your younger self could tell you something like, hold on, I have to go turn the vacuum off. All right, sorry, I don't remember where I was, but anybody else have one of those robotic vacuums? Mine's scheduled to go off at 5 o'clock every day, and she got stuck. So anyway, so what I was thinking was, instead of telling your younger self something, what if your younger self could tell you something like, don't forget to smell the flowers, don't forget to stay young at heart, I don't know, always be happy, true, that kind of thing. So that's how I'm going to reverse that these people that I have here on the cards, sorry for the shadow, are getting little words of wisdom from their younger self, and I'm going to have that there on the shoulders. So I've kind of started a little bit already. I like to color these, so I haven't started him, but I have started the other card. So I just take my watercolor markers and you just color them in, and then like their face, I went over it with a really light tan color, and then I just put my thumb over it and pulled most of the ink off, and you get a little bit of tone there. So I've done her shoes. So I need to do this card first, but I have started on this one. So I really want to turn that light on so you can see, but okay, so these two, I'm assuming they're brother and sister. And so this is her little young self. And I've colored their hair. I've made his jacket brown. I don't know if you can tell it. Or I've colored this is a bluish gray color. Colored their boots. And let's see. So his little self wasn't sitting. He was standing up to play the trumpet. So I cut his pocket. And I just put him inside there. So he's carrying around his younger self, but he's carrying it in his pocket. I inked the little cracks here in the walls, over the floor a little bit, just with markers. Now this isn't something, if I was mass producing, I'm certainly not going to do all of this. But for this little journal, what I thought was to make these tags, put these little quotes on here, your younger self talking to your older self, and then you know, make it into a tag, put it in the journal, and then on the back, see, there's this little feet sticking through there. You could put some plain paper and write a story or something about that, whatever the quote ends up being. I have cut out one for him. So what I have are these little quotes, and I was going to type something out, see what I could find for a phrase, but I'm going to do my best to just use these quotes. Also Tim Holtz, I believe. So that's where I am with these. A little bit of work, but I enjoy coloring them. You can also, if it's not too thick of a card, this one's kind of thick, you could also sew or stitch, you know, or just highlight one little area with some stitches. But for now, we're just going to do this. So I've colored in her bow, her hair, again, her face, and then just blotted some of the ink off. And so that's fun, just coloring again. We all like to color. And then I'll put that little girl right there. For him, what I've gone through, so I'm just thinking the expression on his face, like, I have a feeling he was either not happy, kind of a troublemaker. I'm not sure. He doesn't look too happy at all. So what I found was his little self telling him to be happy, generous, and true. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this little guy here. And again, I just cut his arm here where it met, you know, right here you could see there was a dark crease where his arm hung by his side there. So I cut that so this little boy could scoot over, and then I slit where the pocket would be and just tucked him down in there. I couldn't bend the arm just right, so, but I think for my own sake, I know that's what we're doing. Colored the little uniform green, the little horn, a goldish orange color, and so that's what we're going to do. I feel like his younger self needs to tell him to remember to be happy, be generous, and true. And I did ink the edges a little bit of these little tiny words, and I put them on a little bit bigger piece of paper and then cut them out. So there we go. For him, we have be happy, generous, and true. So that's what his young self is telling him to remember as he grows up. So this little girl, same thing, colored her little, looks like a little nightgown or dress, gray, put a little pink collar on it to match her pink bow and her feet. So we're going to put her on her shoulder here. And again, if I was mass producing, of course, you don't want to go through this much trouble, but I'm just having a little play time tonight. So we're just gonna do it up a little bit. And so aside from the glue strings, so here's the card so far. And I found two little quotes that we'll put together here. I feel like she's not the belle of the ball, but she probably wants to find just the right person in her life. All right, so I added a couple of little quotes together and cut out the word and. So here her little self is telling her to find your loveliness and take it to heart. So kind of what I think is like, remember that you're beautiful and, you know, kind of let that sink into your heart. All right. From this point on, I'll just be doing a voiceover. This will be like take 3, I think. So I have a piece of scrapbook paper that has lines on the back. And so I'm going to put this on the back of each card. And that way it has a little journaling spot. So, you know, whatever quote you choose to put on there, you could also tell a story behind that quote there on the back of the card. So now I'm just going to start coloring in the little boy here, the younger self, and he got a dark green suit. And so here I'm just coloring the whole face in, and then I just blot it off, and then that leaves a tint for the skin color without all the marker lines and things like that. And so here I'm just coloring in his black patent leather shoes. And his stockings, I'm going to leave gray so you can tell the difference between the stocking and the shoe there at the bottom. So, so now it's going to get some dark brown hair. I also put 2 little small blue dots for his eyes, and also did the same on the older self, so they had the matching eyes. And here I'm not exactly on the screen, but I was trying to show you here that I'm coloring in the hat. And I forgot the name of those types of hats, but here I'm doing his hands. I've already done his face, and now I'm coloring in his shirt. I love to do this on these cards and on the little characters. I love to just color them in and make them look like those old black and whites that they would colorize. And here I'm giving the tablecloth a really pretty green color, and then I'm making this little terracotta pot, sorry, a little darker. And when I blot that off, I think the tablecloth, the terracotta pot, and the plant are all just about my favorite part. I think they really did come out looking like they were kind of a watercolor. So I was just fascinated at how well those came out. So and I'm just putting in some light spots and then going over the dark shadowy parts that are already there on the picture, just kind of going over those. I went over his cane with a black, so sorry, I cannot talk. The black marker that I did with this hat. And then this is a doorway. You can see just a little part of it with the doorknob there. So I'm going over that and the floor to kind of darken those. And I am going to go over his whole pantsuit. So that takes a minute. And it takes a little while for that to dry, but it's so worth it because I just think it turns out so awesome. And then in just a bit, I'll take a yellow marker. I didn't really have gold, but he has 2 buttons and what looks like a chain underneath his vest there. And so I colored those in. And I'm just adding a couple of little highlights, darkened areas, blotting off the extra ink, because watercolor markers, they leave a lot on there. So if you blot it, it takes out some of the lines. So we're going to find a quote for him. And then we're going to put the lined paper on the back of this card as well. And again, just so, you know, we always want to journal on the back of our tags, but here you could write a little story to maybe match or explain the quote that you picked out. Just rounding the edges because the card is already round. Now we're going to glue his younger self there on his shoulder. Kind of like we carry them around with us, right? So now just bend it forward a little bit so it's not flat on the card and it looks like somebody's sitting there. And picked out a quote for him, and his says, "One today is worth 2 tomorrows." And that's because I think he looks like the businessman that was probably traveling a lot and not home a lot. So the little boy's just saying, hey, just remember that, you know, he's probably looking always to the future, taking care of his family, but maybe stay home a little more and just live in today now and then. And this is just a black ribbon that I had here handy in my stash. So I'm going to put that at the top of both cards, give them a good trim, and that's the end of that. So thanks for watching and coming along with me while I make a little bit different kind of tags. Again, you wouldn't want to do these if you were mass producing, but just for some fun today, I think it was a nice project to do. So go over to Sheree's channel and check out everyone's videos for Tag Tuesday. There's so much talent over there. You don't want to miss anybody's videos. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.